Hi, I am Arunabh and I am the founder and CEO of uClean, which is India's largest laundry company. I joined IIT Bombay in 2003, where I joined metallurgy and material science. Before starting uClean, I was heading the North India business for a hotel chain called Tribo Hotels. It was while working at the Tribo Hotel that I realized how big a problem the laundry is. Most of the budget hotels that are operating in India today are struggling because the kind of laundry vendors that they have in place are not at all good enough. But because of the lack of quality supply, they are forced to make do with these existing vendors. Simultaneously, I got the opportunity to travel extensively to Southeast Asia, and it was an eye-opener. When I was there in Malaysia and Indonesia, I saw how laundromats as a concept have exploded. If you look at Southeast Asia in particular, you would realize that culturally and behaviorally they are very similar to India. So when I put the two together, I realized that India also presents a huge opportunity for the laundry industry, both in the B2C segment as well as the B2B segment. And this was what inspired the idea behind starting uClean. For me, the first and the foremost step is research. And I would say it's the most critical step. Trust me, you might think that your idea is very innovative, your idea would not have a parallel anywhere in the world, but that's very rarely true. There is always someone out there who is doing it and doing it successfully in some part of the world. So focus a lot on research, spend as much time as possible, be as rigorous as possible to understand the business models that exist out there. They could exist in your own country, they could exist internationally. Understand the model, borrow the best practices before you start going ahead with implementation. The second step should be developing a prototype. A prototype for me would be a miniature version of what you're trying to develop. Make sure that the prototype has all the ingredients of the larger business model that you're trying to work on. The third should be finding the proof of concept. Once you have researched, once you have identified the right ingredients that should go into the business model, once you have created a miniature version of the business model, which is your prototype, try to implement it in a smaller area. For example, if I talk about uClean, once we decided that the idea should be to introduce the culture of laundromats in India, we decided to pilot them, test them out with 2 locations in Delhi NCR. We did a lot of mistakes. Some of these mistakes were horrendous, some of them were unforgivable, but each of them taught us a lot. Only once we were sure that the prototype and the proof of concept was working well, then only we started expanding further. So the idea should be research, develop a proof of concept, and then expand further once you have your proof of concept has worked well. If for whatever reason your proof of concept is not working well, then you need to go back to the drawing board, come up with a new business plan, and then again research, again develop a prototype, and then go into a proof of concept.